In this lesson, we will talk about fundamental determinants of success of entrepreneurial activity. We will first define what we refer to as entrepreneurial success, and then we will see what empirical evidence suggests are the essential characteristics of successful entrepreneurial ventures. Before we do that, I would like to invite you to think about entrepreneurial success. What does it mean to you? How would you define it? Once again, stop the video now, take a piece of paper and write it down. Write down your view of what entrepreneurial success is or what it should be. Ready? Great! I hope you have taken time to think about this point. Now let me tell you how we are going to define entrepreneurial success, as it will be important for the rest of the lesson when we will talk about conditions that lead to that success. There are actually many ways to define and measure entrepreneurial success, yet vast majority of these definitions emphasize growth. The most diffused and commonly used measures are the following. First, revenue growth, that is, if a company is managing to grow its sales continuously. Second, and related to the previous, profit growth or other financial performance measures. Third, employee growth, or whether the startup is able to constantly increase the number of employees. And fourth, innovation performance, or the rate at which the company is introducing new products or processes. Most of them basically overlap. If a company is able to grow its revenues, it may be able to increase its profits as well, while one of the main reasons for the growth is probably innovation. Simultaneously, with increased revenues, the company would typically need more workforce to deliver the goods and meet the increased demand. Overall, all these measures are relatively good proxies of the success of startups. I shall remark that success can also be related to personal expectations and goals. Here are a few interesting views of entrepreneurs. They may all be relevant, yet here we will focus on the more tangible and business-related measures we enlisted a moment ago. Okay, now we turn to the factors that support the entrepreneurial success. Broadly speaking, as the entrepreneurial process is long, complex and uncertain, there could be many determinants of success. To name a few, 1. The entrepreneur should be able to spot a real and significant opportunity. 2. That opportunity should be well defined and clear. 3. The entrepreneur should have the right attitude, patience and perseverance to handle the barriers that emerge during the process, and so on. While the listed factors might be relevant, the empirical evidence suggests that there are several determinants that are more prominent for entrepreneurial success than the others. We will focus on 4 that are on top of that list. First, human capital of startups, which represents the knowledge, threats and skills of entrepreneurs to put up a business and exploit the opportunity. Second, access to finance of a startup or the existence of opportunities to access the right financial resources that are essential for early operations of the business. Third, complementary assets, manufacturing capabilities, marketing channels, brand name and other capacities not strictly related to the startup's main operations, yet still critical for the success. And finally, fourth, social capital, or the extent to which the startup founders are effectively connected to their environment, which in turn should enable them to more easily access the other resources. Let's start from human capital, why it is important and what it represents. As we repeated multiple times thus far, recognizing and exploiting a business opportunity is rather challenging. Moreover, the entrepreneurial process is cumbersome and long with multiple obstacles. In order to cope with them and eventually overcome them, an entrepreneur needs to be fairly knowledgeable and possess the right set of skills and attitudes. Traditionally, what was considered to constitute human capital are talent, knowledge, and skills. More recently, this concept was expanded with other soft aspects like creativity, innovation capacity, risk attitudiness and ability, social and emotional skills, and so on. As you know, other parts of the course focus on this behavioral aspect of human capital. As we can see, a part of human capital is inborn. Nevertheless, human capital can certainly be acquired. The first mechanisms are clearly education and work experience, but human capital can be gained also outside of classroom or office. It can be gained in everyday situations, in encounters that emerge out of fun, play, or simply out of necessity to act. This is what we call a bottom-up approach to gaining human capital. So you might already have the right human capital to be successful, even if you have never had formal education or work experience related to it. This is definitely a good news. Nonetheless, a logical question arises. Exactly what kind of human capital is necessary for a startup success? There is a contradiction here. Should an entrepreneur try to be as narrowly specialized as possible so it can understand rather particular unexploited opportunities and foresee non-obvious possible solutions and eventually be able to develop the anticipated innovation? We would call this person a specialist. Or alternatively, should an entrepreneur be a broadly skilled and knowledge individual who is able to cope with a wide range of adversities that come along the entrepreneurial process? We would call this person a generalist or jack of all trades. What do you think? The answer is ideally both. However, for most of us this may not be possible. What comes out as a result is that startups are not about single entrepreneurs. They are rather about entrepreneurial teams. Entrepreneurial teams, typically comprising 2 to 3 members, can combine the right degree of specialization of each individual with the broad skills of the team as a whole. The team should also not be too large, as coordination and mutual understanding become progressively problematic as the number of team members increases. For example, think of a 3-member entrepreneurial team. It is usually more useful having one technology expert, one expert in accounting and finance, and one marketing and sales expert instead of having 3 technology experts or 3 business experts only. The former, more diverse team will be able to cope with single tasks equally good, while it will be equipped to address a wider range of challenges during the process. To conclude, it is extremely important to find the right co-founders who have complementary human capital in order to increase chances of entrepreneurial success.